please invite Dr. Moody to come and chair this session. The council member, please don't cancel my appointment, ma. Please let us encourage her. Please let us encourage her. Let's encourage her. She's our mama. Until she gets here, please, can we please keep on clapping? You can see, ageless. You're welcome, ma. Well, the last paper for this summit is going to be taken by Professor A.A. Aderinto, and the title of the paper is The Role of the Registry in Actualizing the Vision and Mission of the University of Ibadan. Professor Aderinto, even if he is our boss, he has 40 minutes to do justice to the paper. Professor Aderinto, sir. Please, let's encourage him. Let's encourage him.
I'm not a very tall person, so I would like to stand on the existing protocol so that you all can see me. Let me first express my appreciation to the registrar and the members of this summit planning committee for inviting me to make this presentation. I was speaking with the registrar, and I gathered that she actually had prepared to give this presentation. But she thought that being the chief celebrant of the event, that she should give the space to another person to make the presentation. So that's why I'm coming here. Not that I know so much about the registry than her. She is the registrar. She is in charge of the registry. Everything about the registry she knows. Let me also appreciate the chairperson of this occasion. I call her my leader. And let me also say this at the outset. Let us forget about this academics, non-teaching dichotomy. It's all in the interest of the system. I actually cannot recall when this dichotomy, acrimony between academics and non-teaching staff started. Because even from the account that Chief Mrs. Ladepo gave yesterday, we had icons of the registry that worked in the University of Ibadan before and who were well respected by academics. The fact that they were administrators didn't diminish in any way their standing. They knew their work, their onions, they knew the university rules. And I'm saying that because the chairperson of this occasion is somebody that I have learned so much from as Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, because we've had to work together in our capacity as the Deputy Registrar Academics. And once in a while, you know, when I try to do things this way, she says, DVC, this is the way to do it. And I say, thank you, ma. And even before I became Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, as Dean of the Postgraduate School, I also recall the support, the encouragement, and the guidance that I also got from Mr. Oladeji as Deputy Registrar Secretary to the college. So the fact that this is a university does not mean that, because it's all about teaching, research, community service, it does not mean that there are not other people who perform equally important roles. And in the course of my presentation, I will bring this out. So that's why I said from the outset, let's just forget about that dichotomy. Next one. Well, it's just some basic facts about the university, which the registrar also mentioned yesterday. The fact that the university was established in 1948. And it's very important for us to mention this. In Chief Ladipo's presentation yesterday, she also said that at a point in the history of this university, we had just the registrar, the assistant registrar, a very lean registry. At that time, because we also had fewer number of students, because we also have fewer number of academics. But as the university grew, as the university expanded, it also followed that the registry also had to expand, and that is why now we have a registry that is, fairly big, although the registrar still thinks that it's not big enough. She thinks that even the number of deputy registrars that we have now is not enough, so she keeps pushing. She keeps pushing for more deputy registrars to be appointed in the system because of the enormity of the work that is being performed. We became a full-fledged university in 1962, and we have chosen November 17 as Foundation Day. That is why this year the university is celebrating its 70 years of existence. The university is also marked with key indices of a world-class university in the race to becoming the #1 university in Africa and among the first universities in the world. The ingredients are there. Now, our #1 position in Nigeria is not in contention. We have been holding that for God knows when. And I tell our colleagues that we do not even need to contest that #1 position with other universities in Nigeria, because it would be very, very wrong to do so. After all, even some of the universities we gave birth to. So how can you be contesting #1 position with the University of Ilorin, University of Calabar, University of Jos, which were campuses of the University of Ibadan? I think that we have made our mark, and our #1 position in Nigeria is not in doubt. But our position in Africa, ladies and gentlemen, and our position in the world is one that we really have to take seriously. And I think that even this summit, in part, is a process towards the University of Ibadan attaining that #1 position in Africa. Currently, I think the university is about, maybe we're number 12 in Africa. At a point, we were number 6. And we were hoping that we would improve on that, but because of some problems which I will also mention in the course of the presentation, our rating in Africa dropped. But what is also cheering is that in world ranking, the University of Ibadan for about 3, 4, 5 years now has been maintaining its position, the only university in Nigeria that is so ranked to be among the 1,000th university in the world. And when we celebrate this, colleagues, I say that this 900 and something position, or whatever position they say we occupy now, is not really our position. Because we have the ingredients to make us rank among the first 500th university in the world. Because, ladies and gentlemen, also at a time, don't forget, I think Mrs. Adeboye also made some allusions to that yesterday. At a time, the University of Ibadan ranked so well. It was a time when you would obtain the degree of the university and you would go to Cambridge, you would go to Harvard, you would not need to write any exam. I also remember that it was Dr. Isueli who was just telling us stories about his student days in the University of Ibadan, because he did postgraduate degree in Cambridge. And he said what he needed at that time was just a reference from one of his former professors in the Department of Physics. And when he got to Cambridge and they knew that he was from Ibadan, there was no other story. So I'm saying that we can get back to that position. And we need the registry to also assist the university in getting to that position. The registry is so pivotal to the university achieving its vision. Can I have the next slide, please? Next one. This is just story about the university, just to know how the university has expanded at so much. Division, go back, vision. Now, my presentation is on actualizing the vision of the University of Ibadan. What role as registry? And I said, let us look at the key word there, that is vision. The vision simply means the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination and wisdom. The registrar also has a home vision for the registry of the university. She mentioned that yesterday, that she will want to see a registry that is IT driven, a registry that is efficient, a registry that will be #1 in the world, although she didn't say in the world. But she implied it, a professional registry. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a vision, and that's why the founding fathers of the university bequeathed to us a vision that is to guide the way we think, that is to guide the way we operate. A vision that is to enable us know that that is where we want to be some years to come. You need a vision, not only as an institution, even as individuals. If you do not have a vision of what you want to become in life, you will just be wandering aimlessly. You will just be living by the day. Just come to work, do what you are supposed to do, go back home, eat, sleep. No effort. So that is why an institution, any organization for that matter, because an organization that does not have a vision is going nowhere. So right from establishment, we had a vision for a university. And the ability to anticipate possible future events and developments defines the optimal desired future state, the mental picture of what an organization wants to achieve over time. And as I also go on in the presentation, you see how the registry fits into this overall vision of the university. Because if the vision of the university is to be a world-class university geared, meeting at societal needs, it's not only about academics, it's not only about teaching, it's not only about supervision of students. There are some other services that are very important. Which are those services that are provided by you? Now, for every mission, you must also have a mission, because vision is long-term. Vision is overarching. Whereas missions are those strategies that you want to employ in attaining that vision. And the vision and mission of the university must align. The mission must be targeted at the attainment of that vision. And that is why we also have the 4 or 5 mission of the university. Let's just go to the next slide. Yeah, well, vision, mission statements, guiding management thinking on strategic issues. Can you go back to the mission? You missed it. Okay. Yes, and the mission must answer 3 questions about an organization. What it does, who it does it for, and how it does what it does. When we look at the mission of the university, you will see that that mission answers these 3 questions about the University of Ibadan. So in whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, you must have at the back of your mind, the vision of the university, and then see your role, that corner of your office where you sit. Don't think that you are not important. You are very important. Even if you are a clerical officer, whatever you are, it is because there is a role for you. That is why the university created that position. If that position wasn't important, that position would not have been created. That is the way that I want you to see your role. Next slide, please. Okay, so both statements, the vision and the mission, guide management's thinking on strategic issues, inspire employees to work more productively by providing focus and common goals, and establishing a framework for ethical behavior. It is very, very important. Vision statements, mission statements provides frameworks for ethical behavior, because you must always do things right. Now, let's just run over this for just about 2 minutes, just for us to know a bit about where we work. I mean, the university, how is it different from a government secretariat? How is it different from other organizations? The university is the repository of knowledge of mankind. And a university must act as knowledge vaults. In advanced countries, the knowledge that is required to propel the development of those countries are generated by the universities. Universities are very important. Government relies on them because they are knowledge vaults. But we do not see that in Nigeria. The university has just been reduced just for training of students, nothing more. But the other functions of informing policy, providing government with evidence-based policies, is not there. But universities are to serve that purpose, knowledge vaults, maintaining and securing crucial knowledge for present and future generations. Next slide. Well, still about knowledge and contributing to national economic growth and national development. These are the other functions of the university: design courses of study, equip graduates so that they can obtain viable employment, obligation to offer rational and timely criticism, and so on and so forth. So if you look at the functions, can you just go back a bit? So if you look at the functions of the university, you see that all of this is not all about academics. Equip graduates so that they can obtain viable employment. The registry also plays a key role, contributing to national economic growth and national development. The registry also plays a key role. The ranking that I spoke about a while ago, that UI is this, even those rankings that rely on scientific output only, okay, also has the importance of the registry embedded in it. Because your scientific output as an academic can also not come solely without the support of administrators and the other people who work within the university system. Next slide, sir. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to think about this very well. The university as a social system. We know what a social system is. Students of social sciences would know what a social system is. Because a social system is a system of interdependence of parts. If you look at the society, for instance, there are many parts to the society, all performing independent functions, but they are also interdependent. And that is why when we have any problem with our political system, sometimes it affects our economic system. It affects even the educational system. And it's the same way that I want you to look at the university. The university as a system of interrelated parts. Let's even leave that for now. Look at even your own body that has so many parts. The eyes, the kidney, all the parts. They have their functions, different functions that they perform, but they also work interdependently in the sense that if there is a problem with a part of the body, it affects the whole body. And the university can also be seen in that context. You have academics, you have non-teaching staff with their functions, independent functions, but they all function to maintain the survival of the university. You know, the last time we had the strike by the non-teaching unions, although we managed, you know, to do exam, but there were other services of the university that were severely affected. Students could not obtain their transcripts, and we had serious problems. Some of our students who required those transcripts to gain employment abroad could not obtain those transcripts because the non-teaching staff unions were on strike. And I also remember that time that, you know, I also turned to be, how do I call it now? Because there was also no water in the hostels. I also had to be contacting tankers to be bringing water. Very early in the morning, I will be going to the house of residence to ensure that water was provided for them. And you know how tough it can be to get up 6 a.m., 5 a.m. Because I have a young wife, I shouldn't get up from bed so early. But I had to do that because you were all on strike. It was a problem for us. Now, these are just features of universities, hierarchies of authority, goals, and so on. People processing organizations goal-oriented. So the university is a formal organization. It's a formal organization. It would have been called another thing if only academics and students were the ones that would be here. And you would imagine what would happen to, you know, the other services like I mentioned. I also recall that there was a strike. We had a strike, and we had to go to the post office to get mails coming into the university. And you know, some of those mails, some of our colleagues who were invited to attend the meetings abroad also missed that opportunity because there was nobody to go to the post office to collect those letters. So even that cleaner that is cleaning where you work is part of the system. Can you sit in an office that is dirty? What kind of work will you do in that office? Next slide, please. Now, the vision of our university is this, and not just 1 minute. And all of us must, you must know this. Do not forget to be a world-class institution for academic excellence geared towards meeting societal needs. That is why the University of Ibadan exists. And we also have the mission of the university. Can you run all of them? 4, to expand the frontiers of knowledge, produce graduates who are worthy in character and sound judgment, contribute to the transformation of society through creativity and innovation. Creativity and innovation is very key. And when I also discuss the challenges facing the registry, you see that creativity and innovation would also come up. And when I get there, I will also be talking about injecting some innovation, some creativity in the way we do things, so that it will not be the way it was done in the time of Mr. Hunter. That is the first registrar. And so it is the same way that we still have to be doing things in year 2018. It is not possible. And to serve as a dynamic custodian of society's salutary values and thus sustain its integrity. You also see here when we have some of our colleagues who engage in behaviors that do not align with the vision of the university, you see why there is a problem. Because the university is to maintain society's salutary values, thus sustaining its integrity. If you engage in unethical behavior, there is no way that the image of the university will not be affected. And these are our core values, ladies and gentlemen: excellence in learning, upright in character, sound in judgment, and incomparable in service. Next one. Don't let us waste time on this. Because this is the vision of the university, to become a world-class university. So what does becoming a world-class university mean? And must have high quality of academic research, enormous funds available to them. You know that the University of Ibadan, does not have enormous funds. World-class universities relatively large in terms of students and faculty. Student-faculty ratio relatively low, and some of the features of world-class university the University of Ibadan currently has. But we are not yet there, and I think that is also the essence of this summit. The summit is to remind us that that is where we are going, and we are still far from our destination, which is to become a world-class university. We are not yet a world-class university because our mode of operation is still very far from what world-class universities are noted for. And I will also still come to that. You know, we have so many problems with our service delivery. And I know that the registrar, is also thinking about how to reinvigorate the system, make the registry more efficient. How can we get the transcript of the University of Ibadan in one day? It is possible because some other universities ensure that. Now, the second bullet there, so interestingly, most university ranking organizations do not account for the administrative arm of the university operations in their methodologies. But this is not a question of ignorance. The role of administrative units is assumed as there cannot be a well-functioning and internationalized university without professional and efficient administrators. It is not possible. So, like I mentioned it a while ago, if a ranking body ranks the University of Ibadan as #1 in Nigeria based on the fact that academics in the University of Ibadan produce high-quality publications and so on, the functions of administrators in that process, it's embedded in the whole process. So don't think that we are not part of it. And the question that the emeritus registrar, Mr. Oguruku, answered, that when the university is doing well, academics will take the glory. But when the university is not doing well, the non-teaching staff will take the blame. I like that. No, I like that because it is going to spoil you. It's going to spoil you because you will not want to receive the blame all of the time. But don't worry, some of us recognize your worth. I should even say almost all of us. We recognize your worth. Forget about all the social media exchanges during the last strike. Forget about them. Honestly. Because even some of the people who were sending those messages after the strike now, are they not working together? They are working together. There is nothing a thing can do in his or her faculty without the support of the faculty officer, and vice versa. Next slide. Yes, I've mentioned this in passing. The core service arms of the university for academic staff, for non-teaching staff, and for non-teaching staff is the management and administration of day-to-day running of key units, central to the operations and effectiveness of the university system. The registrar also mentioned it yesterday, that the registry is like the gatekeeper. When students are coming in, that is at the time of admission, you manage student academic matters till graduation, even post-graduation. She mentioned it yesterday. And even engagement of staff. The first day in service till retirement, even post-retirement. The registry is there. The registry is the pulse of the administration. If the registry is not doing well, the university cannot do well. That is just the fact. The strong room where all records are kept. Some months ago, I didn't even know where I kept my birth certificate, and I needed it for something. I had to call Mrs. Debusa to help me fetch the photocopy that's in my student's file. And she got a photocopy for me. So the registry is the strong room where all those records are, 1970-something records, and so on and so forth. But that, also comes, with a problem. And that, again, I will mention shortly. Repository of Information, Statutes, Ordinance, and Act of the University. The registrars, at least since I had started in administration, as it was also mentioned yesterday, when I became an academic administrator. The registrars that have served the University of Ibadan are registrars who are well abreast of issues in the university. They know the rules. And as academics, if you are in Senate, if you are in council, if you are in... there's a tendency for us to just to want to say something. And I usually marvel when those registrars will say, sorry, this is the way it should be. This is the rule of the university. With respect to that. So you cannot be an efficient administrator. You cannot be a seasoned administrator if you do not know the rules of the university. How many of us even know about the act establishing the University of Ibadan? We do not know. We do not know. And it's always in the university calendar. I'm sure that perhaps you have it on your tables. Open it and read. As seasoned administrators, you must know. An interpretation and implementation of rules. It is very important. And since the registrar came on board, we have had, occasions to discuss some of these issues. And she would come up and say, the rule of the university, this is the interpretation. And she's not going to be part of any process that will say otherwise. And those rules are very important. If we do not have rules in the university, the whole place is just going to be in chaos. And they also say that where there is no rule, there is no sin. You have chaos all over the place. And that is why we have those rules. And it is your responsibility to understand these rules, to be able to interpret these rules, and also to be able to implement the rules. They are very, very important. If you do not interpret and implement the rules very well, the vision of the university is never ever going to be attained. So all of these little things add up. They add up to the attainment of the university vision. Well, I don't know if I covered all of the divisions of the university registry. If you even take the postgraduate school, for instance, there is no teaching that goes on at the postgraduate school. It's purely administrative. How many academics are there? Just 3, the dean and 2 sub-deans. That's all. Every other person in the postgraduate school either belongs to the registry, to the bursary, or to the audit. And I used to tell my staff of the postgraduate school when I was dean that, look, I'm happy when the postgraduate school is doing well because I take the glory. I'm very happy. But I also did not fail at every time to acknowledge their support. Look at admissions, look at exams, look at records, look at the committee units, and every other unit of the postgraduate school. We turn out graduates every year. Every year we turn out graduates. Who are the people doing the work? The registry, the bursary, the audit. Next slide. And those are the units of the university, like I mentioned earlier. The registrar also still feels that there can be more. We can have about 15, 16 deputy registrars, as they have it in some other universities anyway, because we were told that the Obafemi Awolowo University, for instance, has about how many deputy registrars? At least more than what we have in the University of Ibadan. So I will always support any effort. If, the registrar says that's what she wants, I will always support her. She's my very good sister. Let me also mention, because myself and the registrar had also come a long way. It's not part of my presentation, so don't worry. I digress. The Faculty of the Social Sciences, we worked together. I was subbed in undergraduate. I cannot remember. I think she was assistant registrar, or, at least she also started her career at the Faculty of the Social Sciences. Look at the roles of the registry. The presentation of Mr. Oguruku, and I think the presentation of Chief Mrs. Ladipo already contain details of the functions of the registry. I just picked out those that I consider as, are very important to me. Support for academic units, regulator within the university, assisting with interpretation, we have mentioned that, contribute to the running of the university, including the implementation of policies and strategy, advisory rules, support and guidance to international students, and provides student services. Next slide. I have less than 10 minutes. Okay, now let's look at the challenges confronting the University of Ibadan Registry, because I think that this will be what we need to take away from here, so that as we all conclude this summit, we need to move away from here to do things in a better way. I said frequent strike, the very first one. This is not peculiar to the registry. Of course, you know. And I even fear for, next year. I was telling somebody, I said, next year, only God knows what will happen. With the failure of government to still fulfill its promises to the non-teaching staff unions. And then my union also is also, warming up, so to say. I am not saying that the reasons for those strikes are not genuine. I'm not saying so. But there is something that frequent strikes do to the system that is just not in tune with the vision of the university. We can't be truncating the academic calendar of the university almost every year, and we say that we want to attain the status of a world-class university. It is not possible. It's just not possible. Programs of study that shouldn't last more than 4 years, now 5 years, 6 years. The last 4 years have even been relatively stable. But frequent strikes, ladies and gentlemen, it's a problem within the Nigerian university system. But anytime there is a strike, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying that you should disobey your union. But I'm simply saying that if our leaders are here, that we need to step down a bit on calling members out for strike action. And service delivery issues. I will consider this as the greatest challenge facing the registry. And that is why I imagine that that's what Mr. Oguruku implied when he said that when there is a problem with the university system, it's the registry that takes the blame. Because your services are very essential. And that's what I also normally tell Mrs. Dibosa in transcript. I said, unfortunately for you, you had a unit of the registry that you cannot cover. It's not possible. If somebody did not get a transcript in 2 days, he would protest. He will protest, not even minding what the staff in that unit go through. So I tell her, I don't envy you, but it is your work. Look at other issues. Look at exams. Look at the entire registry and the services that we are expected to provide to our clients. Ladies and gentlemen, our service delivery issues are still very problematic. We want a registry that can issue transcripts in 3 days, if not in 1 day. We want a registry, staff of the registry that will be so friendly, that will do their work with happiness. It is not the case with some of our colleagues. Students come to your offices, sometimes we shout at them. We shout at them. They come to your offices, you are busy sending a WhatsApp. You won't even look up. Forgetting, ladies and gentlemen, that is our product. That is what we sell. And if we treat them well, they graduate out of this university, they come back to to pump into the system. You would not expect a student that wasn't well treated when he or she was here to come back and inject millions of naira or billions of naira into the system when he or she finally makes it. It's not possible. The Vice Chancellor mentioned it once. We had one of our former students who was working in Dubai, needed some documents from the University of Ibadan, but could not get it, and sent an email to the Vice Chancellor, was very, very angry. I think a postgraduate at